Babes.
Mm-hmm.
I love you.
I love you too.
Good.
Well, I would hope that you love me.
Yes.
No, I don't.
Yes, it's been a good morning, babes.
It has.
We hung out in bed for a while, then we had some cinnamon rolls.
You recorded me when I didn't want you to.
Oh, wait, yes, I told you.
Yeah, after the fact.
No, I didn't tell you after the fact.
Well, I mean, not after the fact, but right as we started. I'm like, why are you recording this?
For my personal archives.
Ugh. Really?
Me and Louis Armstrong.
Louis Armstrong is dead.
No, but he had his own archives of like 800 hours of tapes, I think it was. Maybe even more than that.
That's insane.
Mm-hmm.
That's insane. That is ridiculously insane.
Yes. But you got us some mini cinnamon rolls.
Yes, they're very good.
And I said we should make one for Christmas. And then we got into a talk about the holidays ahead of time. And I don't want to, give anything out of context, but it looks like there's a reasonable chance we'll be spending my birthday together, which is good. And, I'm excited about that. But that's months away, babes.
And I talked about filling suggestions. I said maybe we can fill it up with pumpkin and or apples or something delicious. And then I came up with the idea, if we didn't want to deal with the ham, we could do some pork chops or pork steaks and or prime rib.
Yes.
And I love that. I love those two ideas.
I do too, babes.
Prime rib. So my uncle, like I've told you before, and I'm telling it to anyone who's listening, my uncle has this recipe for tender prime rib with gravy, and so good.
That does sound delicious.
It is. It just like melts in your mouth. It literally does. Yeah.
Yes.
So good.
Yes.
Tastes like butter. Well, not quite like butter, but it is good. It's some good eating.
We might have to do that, babes.
Oh yes.
For the holidays. So Merry Christmas.
Not quite Christmas.
Would you like to wish the birthday boy Merry Christmas?
No, because
or Happy Birthday.
No, because it's not your birthday.
Okay, it's only 5.5 months away, babes.
I know, but it's not December.
Okay, fair enough.
It's just like wishing me a happy birthday, and I'm only 2 months out of my birthday.
I would like to wish you a happy 42nd birthday.
Almost 3 months, yeah.
I know it's coming up. I'll be honest with you, babes. I didn't buy you a birthday present yet. You're gonna have to wait a little while. Just so I'm not trying to put it off to the last minute. I just haven't gotten it yet.
I still have to think about our anniversary present. Your anniversary present, rather.
I actually know what I'm gonna get you. I haven't bought it yet, but I do. I have a good idea of what I'm getting you.
I could only guess.
It's something that you would use, I think.
Well, I hope so.
Yes, and that would make your life a little bit easier.
Oh, I hope so.
Yes.
I still have to think of what I'm going to get you, though.
Nice.
Nice.
We took showers.
Separately.
Unfortunately.
Oh, you're fine.
I know I'm fine, but I sort of like to take in a shower with you.
Oh my goodness.
While you were doing yours, I listened to more of I guess I can say I listen to audiobooks. That's a known thing.
Of course.
Yes.
Of course.
The book on the Beatles, You Never Give Me Your Money, the Beatles breakup.
Well, we talked about a lot of books on your books.
That's true, babes. I don't always listen to audiobooks, but this time I am. Okay.
That's really good. I'm almost done with mine.
Well, good.
Yeah.
So there's some interesting stuff in this book that I didn't know. So obviously I know a lot about the Beatles.
Yes, you do. You definitely know more than I do.
You think so?
Yes, I absolutely think so.
Okay. I'm definitely a fan of theirs. Yeah. They're my favorite band of all time, which I know is a cliche thing to say, but
a lot of people say that, yes.
A lot of people say that. I do think they are the best band of all time for many different reasons, right? Yeah. We could go through just their music. We could go through their cultural influence. But, that's an opinion held by a lot of people. Yes. Having said that, I'm learning stuff about them. So, in the 1970s, we're talking about 72, Geraldo Rivera had done his story on Willowbrook.
Oh, yes.
Which was
Isn't that in the 80s?
No, that was in the early 70s.
Oh, yeah. I saw clips of it. I didn't see it, obviously, but I saw a few clips of it, and it was really disturbing.
For some reason, I thought the story came out later, but according to this book, it was earlier than that. I thought it was like 74 or 75.
Okay. Yeah, I heard that was a really, really a big breaking story. Yeah.
But so for people who don't know the story, it's basically Willowbrook was this institution where they kept slow adults. Uh-huh. And Geraldo Rivera, even though I disagree with a lot of what he's done since then, uh-huh. did a very good thing in exposing that organization.
Yes.
In any event, it made him passionate about helping adults with disabilities. Uh-huh. At the time, John Lennon was getting a lot of bad press because of some of his statements and
about
actions.
About disabilities?
Well, not necessarily about that, but about him supporting all these left-wing causes. Uh-huh. And the Nixon administration was trying to bring him down. Uh-huh. So that's a whole complicated thing. But Geraldo Rivera approached Lennon and said, hey, you should do a concert to help raise money and awareness for people with intellectual disabilities. Uh-huh. So John Lennon agrees because he wants to stay in the country.
Yeah.
And because John Lennon supposedly hated disabled people.
Apparently.
Yes.
From what you said.
From what I've read in other books. Uh-huh. And who knows how much of that is true, because people will say things on one day.
And then they'll change it the next day.
Or it may be kind of tongue in cheek as well.
Yeah.
Right. But this is the perception I have. So John Lennon agrees to do the concert at, I think, Madison Square Garden. They put up the tickets for sale, and they're selling very slow. Like, previously to this, if a Beatles said that they were going to do a big concert like the one for Bangladesh, it would sell out almost immediately. But because Lennon had put out some albums that weren't considered that good at the time and made some controversial statements, he was having problems selling these tickets. So he makes radio ads for them, promising a good time. According to the book, and I don't know if this is true or not, but it was interesting to read, he was so desperate to sell out this concert that he even called Paul McCartney to ask him to perform.
Wow.
And McCartney said no. Now, the book doesn't go into the reasons why McCartney declined. Yeah. Okay. And I've never heard this story before. I knew kind of the thing about the concert, and Geraldo Rivera helped him with something, but I didn't know the specific details.
Right.
And this is the first I heard about McCartney being asked to perform there.
Yeah.
Yeah. And of course, there's, the concert for Bangladesh where George Harrison supposedly was toying with the idea of a Beatles reunion. Yeah. But not everybody was into it. I don't know. I always think it would have been interesting to see what they would have been like together. And then it tells the story of Ringo Starr released some album in 1973, and all four of them worked on the album, but they didn't all do a track together. Like, the closest was, there was some song on that album where John Lennon wrote it and played on the track. Mm-hmm. And obviously Ringo sang it. Harrison played guitar on it as well. Mm. But that was the closest they came.
Wow.
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
Yes.
Huh.
But I also think it's kind of cool that they never reunited as well. Because who knows what that would have been.
You think it was cool that it didn't even reunite for just one performance even?
Well, I mean, who knows? It might have been very disappointing.
Huh.
Like, there's so many things that make them such an interesting band.
Yeah.
Do you think that people will still be talking about the Beatles in 100 years? Like we talk about them now?
I can't say. Because because in 100 years I'll probably be gone.
Right.
But so I really don't know. I mean, maybe it's possible. Yes. I mean, but I can't say for certain.
What do you think of the information I just told you?
It's interesting. It is very interesting. I didn't know. I didn't know that Geraldo Rivera, as much as I do disagree with a lot of things that he's done today, or said today. Not today, but lately. I was surprised that he approached John Lennon about this.
Back in the day, Geraldo Rivera, at least what I've heard, he used to be pretty liberal. And then he kind of went off the rails.
He still is.
No, he's on Fox News. He's a big Trump supporter.
He never admitted that.
Yes, he did.
No, he didn't.
Yes, he did. I can tell you where he admitted it.
Actually, well, he said that he was friends. He said that he knew him for years, but he also said that he also did not reveal who he voted for either.
No, he did.
No, he didn't.
I can tell you where he did.
I have heard a lot of interviews, and we are not going to go down this rabbit hole. We could go down this rabbit hole around and around and around, but I've heard a lot of interviews where contributors were asking him who he voted for, and he never admitted it.
And
there's a lot of things that he said when it comes to immigration that I don't agree with.
I can tell you where he said it because I was listening at the time.
Who cares? I certainly don't care.
No, but I'm just saying he is publicly a Trump supporter, and I can tell you where I heard that.
That doesn't make him necessarily conservative either, because there's some liberals that have come out and are still in some respects Democrats.
I know that he is a Trump supporter. I believe he was also a supporter of George W. Bush. The Trump supporter, I think I know because he talked about it on Howard Stern about how he's a Trump supporter, but his wife's not one. And he gets in arguments with his wife all the time about Trump because she doesn't like him and he believes that Trump was a good president.
Okay. Well, I mean, regardless of that.
Yeah.
There's a lot of things that he's said when it comes to example for, immigration that a lot of, contributors have debated him on and things of that sort. But so I don't know. Geraldo Rivera is interesting. But I thought it was interesting that he came up in the book when it came to John Lennon.
He's supposedly a lot more liberal then.
Oh, okay.
Well, I do.
I don't care.
I do. But it was interesting to read. Geraldo Rivera once had a soul. Okay.
Horrendo Revolver.
Oh my goodness. What else?
Revolver.
Oh my goodness. Like the album.
Oh. Whose album was that?
The Beatles did an album called
Revolver. That's right. You told me about that. Yeah.
That's a great album.
Revolver.
How can you be a music person?
Bubs. I'm sorry.
Oh, stop. Some people, babes, and I'm not just saying this.
Yes.
No, not me, but like musical critics have said that might be the best album ever made.
Besides the White Album?
Well, I'm telling you what other people have said.
Oh.
My personal favorite Beatles album is a White Album, even though apparently they didn't like it.
Oh, wow.
And it's considered a great album, but White Album is very close in my mind. It's close between the White Album and Rubber Soul. Because Rubber Soul's amazing. But Revolver is probably my third favorite album.
Really?
And Paul McCartney has kind of implied that if he had it to do over again, he would have released Rubber Soul and Revolver as like a double album.
What songs were on Revolver?
Oh, I think Revolver had, what did it have on it? It had, of course, now that you say that, I want to say it had Good Day Sunshine.
That's a great one.
It had,
Is it Good Morning?
No, Good Morning, I think, was Sgt. Pepper's.
Okay. Sgt. Pepper's Lonely Hearts Club. Yeah. Yes.
I think Revolver, no, I was going to say Michelle, but I think that was Rubber Soul.
Okay.
Oh God. Hold on. I can't remember off the top of my head. Alexa, what songs were on the album Revolver? Alexa, stop. Taxman, Eleanor Rigby, I'm Only Sleeping. Those are great songs.
Yeah.
You've heard those songs, right?
Of course.
Yes. I love I'm Only Sleeping.
Yeah.
You like that song too?
I think so, yes.
When I wake up early in the morning. But Rubber Soul had In My Life, Wait for No One.
You know, honestly, I mean, I know that you
Cry for No One, Wait.
I know that you liked In My Life, but that's not my favorite Beatles song.
That is easily my favorite Beatles song. I love that song.
I think that there are better songs than that.
Really? So what's your favorite song by them?
Well, there's so many. I like Oh Girl.
That, by the way, that's on Rubber Soul as well.
Oh girl. And She Loves You. That's one of my favorite ones.
She drugs you, yeah.
Oh, okay.
All right, go ahead. Keep going, please.
You're gonna say you drug me too? Okay. I like, there's so many. I like, Sgt. Pepper's Lonely Hearts Club, of course, the title track.
That's an okay song.
I wasn't asking for your opinion.
Okay.
You wanted my opinion?
Alright, go ahead. Go ahead there, Jaylo.
I like, what is that called? The one that was like, tell me why you cried. In fact, that was on the movie we watched last night.
I forget.
That's a good one. That's a good one too. I also like, If I Fell.
That's in my top 10.
If I fell in love with you, would you promise to be true? So I told you this story. I'm going to repeat this again.
Oh.
I don't think I repeated this said this in the podcast, but, I went to a flute festival one year with, the flute choir I was a part of in college, and there was a flute ensemble that played a flute version of If I Fell, and it was so cool.
I bet it was.
It was beautiful. It really was.
Yes.
Yes.
But in my life, we've established it's the best Beatles song.
No,
it's been established.
In your opinion, it's the best Beatles song, and I disagree with you. I think there's a lot more better. I think there's a better Beatles songs than that one.
But it makes your top 3, right?
I don't have top 3s.
Okay.
I can't number them because there's so many that I like.
Help is up there.
Help's a great song.
Fool on the Hill is my second favorite Beatles song.
Fool on the Hill is great.
Something is great.
It's
Only a Northern Song is great. There's so many, obviously.
There's
and I Love Her is probably top 5.
Take the last train to Clarksville.
That's by the Days Clark 5.
Oh, I'm sorry. It's not it. Okay, sorry.
If that's your favorite Beatles song, then maybe I should be judging these.
No, sorry. I'm sorry. That was the wrong one.
Yes. There's God only knows what I eat.
No, that's the Beach Boys.
Yes. There's In My Room is really good.
No. That's the Beach Boys.
Uh-oh. There's Nothing But a G Thing. I really like that song.
No, that's Snoop Dogg.
Okay.
No, I thought it was Material Girl.
Uh-oh.
Oh, wait, that's Madonna.
There's You Can Do It. You Can Do It With Your Back.
No.
That's a great Beatles song.
No, that's not it.
That was what some of their later work.
Okay. We're getting off sidetrack here.
Okay, go ahead, Bass.
No. I like so many Beatles songs that it's just hard to name them on one hand.
It's great, but my favorite is Still in My Life.
Okay.
Yes. Don't.
I like Here, There, and Everywhere.
That's good.
Yes.
I heard that Lennon actually liked that song a lot too, even though Paul McCartney wrote it.
Yeah, it's a good song.
Yes. I think that might be on Revolver.
Yes. Did they also sing A Long and Winding Road?
That was their last number 1 hit off Let It Be.
That's a great song too.
Yeah.
To Your Door.
That's a great song. Interesting way to end their career. What?
I know that song. I know another song I like.
What's that?
We're so sorry, Uncle Albert.
Oh my goodness.
Oh wait, that was his Wings.
Okay.
I think it was called Band on the Run.
I don't really listen to a lot of Wings, to be honest.
Maybe it's because I got it confused because it was Paul McCartney singing and I wasn't sure which one was Wings and the Beatles, but anyway, we're on to the Beatles.
So babes, if you want to get us off of this, what would you bring up for a subject?
Shall we get into the movies?
Well, the movies will bring us back to the Beatles.
Yeah, but we have to get to the movies.
Okay.
Or we can...
Oh, can I tell my idea that I had after watching that thing you do?
All right.
Spoiler alert. They get...
hey, we're going to talk about it later.
It's not that much of a spoiler alert, babes. Babes, I know what I'm doing.
Oh, my goodness.
Okay. Sometimes I wish I did the podcast by myself.
Hey.
It'd be in Hammond. No, give me a kiss.
Oh.
Yeah.
Hammond alone?
Oh, my goodness. What if... They get a copy of their single pressed up on Playtone Records.
Yes.
And I had the idea, well, wouldn't it be interesting if we took some of our conversations, or a conversation, and put it on vinyl? And then I thought, well, that would be really expensive. It would take a lot of resources. Who would buy it?
Who would buy it? To which I replied, "Nobody would buy this. I think it's a dumb idea."
Thank you for being so supportive.
I mean, I didn't say it was a dumb idea. I just said it wasn't a good idea.
Oh.
I said, who would want to listen to a couple's discussion?
I would.
Yeah, but nobody else would. That's the problem.
So that idea maybe not my best.
No.
This morning I thought about it, and I had the idea of what instead of doing a full album of just one conversation, what if we did like a best of, and we worked in some of our clips from our private conversations, and I talked to somebody about writing a grant so we could get it pressed up as maybe a double album, and you were dead set against that. And unfortunately, legally, I need your consent.
Yeah, I said, no, it's still not a good idea. In fact, I think it's an even worse idea than what you said the first time.
You don't want a best of record of your stuff?
No, I don't.
Okay.
Well, the only people that would buy it would be us.
But you'd still have a best of vinyl.
No.
Yeah.
I don't want it. I don't want it. Oh my goodness. I think you've just got recording happy.
Oh, I think you have
in the last month or so, you've just got completely recording crazy.
Oh, it is, babes.
You've gotten recording crazy, and I don't know how to get you off the kick, though.
I don't know. Jaylo? Maybe you don't need to.
Why?
Why what?
Well, you've been recording pretty much...
Oh, babes, we've talked about this before.
Oh.
But I still love you.
Couldn't I say no?
Oh, I love you, babes.
No.
I love my Jaylo.
Oh.
Yeah, I do.
I know I can't get you off of the recording kick.
Oh, what else? Stop beating yourself there, babes. And what else?
What have you...
Before we get to the movies, we had dinner last night.
Oh, it was really good too.
We made the kale salad. And I really wanted to do rice because I thought that would give us more to eat, but you said, oh, we don't really need to do that. You forgot the feta cheese, so instead we took some cheese and crackers and crumbled it over.
We put some cheddar cheese on there, and then I crumbled a bag of Ritz crackers with cheese, and it turned out really good, actually.
It did. Gave it a nice crunchy taste.
It was delicious.
Yes.
Crunchy and cheesy.
Yes.
And then the avocado, tomato, and cucumber just added to the flavor with a little bit of olive oil.
Mm-hmm.
It was delicious.
Yes.
But tonight, we're going to do some sandwiches.
That's right, babes.
Bagel sandwiches.
It's going to be fun there, Jaylo.
Yes, it will.
Yes.
With cream cheese, hummus, and possibly olives.
I'm looking forward to it.
Yeah.
Yes.
I am too.
Yes. And pesto.
Yes. I believe I have some in the fridge, and and you saw some in my cabinet.
I did.
Yeah.
Yes. Babes.
Yes.
In 1996, It was a Sunday night.
Yeah.
I was at home watching AMC.
Okay.
And Phil Collins hosted this special on the movie A Hard Day's Night.
Uh-huh.
Right? He's talking about the movie, cultural impact. There's also clips of Roger Ebert and Richard Lester, who directed the movie, in this documentary.
Oh, wow.
Something really interesting. They aired the documentary, followed by A Hard Day's Night and Help.
And he was a narrator? Phil Collins?
Phil Collins was, yes.
Oh, cool.
And the host of it.
Wow.
I taped the documentary and the other two movies on one of those tapes where you can expand it so you can get 6 hours of film time.
Oh, wow.
I never watched it though.
Okay.
But I saw clips from the movie in the documentary.
Okay.
And they also show clips from it in the anthology.
Oh, wow.
You've watched the anthology, right?
No. I have not.
That's really interesting. I mean, it's obvious it's a bit propaganda because it's the 3 surviving Beatles consenting to it, but it's still fun.
Okay.
Okay. And that was my experience with the movie.
Uh-huh.
Recently, you said you wanted to do a band movie.
Yes.
And you suggested A Hard Day's Night.
Yeah, I said, hey, why don't we do that? I've never seen it before, and you said you saw parts of it, and I'd like to see what it's about.
I will let you give the recap.
I don't know if okay, so...
And partially because the story is very thin.
And I did kind of fall asleep through some of it.
And you woke me up and then went right back to sleep. Like, Bubs, get up. Bubs, I'm going to bed. Get up.
No, I didn't say that.
You didn't say, but it was pretty much.
But I wasn't trying to fall asleep either.
Oh.
I really, my eyes are just getting so heavy. Anyway, it starts on this train where, the 4 Beatles are sitting next to this older guy, and Paul McCartney basically said that that's his grandfather. Yeah, they picked some random older guy, and he says, "Oh, that's my grandfather," and it was quite interesting. And I think they struck up a conversation with this older guy, and
after the grandfather goes to get lunch with their manager,
right,
who is not played by Brian Epstein.
It's very strange because in the midst of all this, they actually get their instruments out and they
play on the train.
They play on the train, and I'm like, that's so unrealistic.
Mm-hmm.
You can't get your instruments out and play on a train. You have to actually store them. You can't do that. It's just very strange. It's hard to. It was strange. There was no plot line to it at all.
I think eventually they're going to perform live.
Yeah.
And the movie is basically about the journey to that. So they get off the train, they go to a hotel. There's a scene where the old guy is gambling. There's, the Beatles go off and do their own things and struggle to make it back in time for the show. And then they perform a couple of songs, and that's the end of the movie. And they also performed at this rehearsal. It's not a good movie. It's not horrible. It's not like the worst thing I've ever seen.
It's not horrible. It's just we came to the agreement that we both wanted more of a plot line to it.
Mm-hmm.
That we could actually talk about the storyline behind what was in the midst of their journey to get to perform live. And we would have liked to have seen like a back and forth with their manager, and
there's a little bit of that, but it didn't, I mean, obviously this is like a bubblegum film.
Yeah.
Because it came out in 1964 when they were, it was before they started experimenting with psychedelics and all that stuff and going to India. Yeah. So we're not going to see any of that, but it could have been a little bit more darker. But I could see why it wasn't, based on their popularity at the time and who they were at that moment.
Yeah. They were just starting out.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'd give it a 6.
I'd say at least a 6.5 just because of the music.
I give it a 6 because of the music.
Because it wasn't original?
Well, so there's a couple arguments in my head. You could say that this film deserves an 8.5 because of the music. And you could make the argument, I don't know if it's true or not, that these songs are timeless. And the songs in the movie, for the most part, because I think She Loves You was out before the movie, may not, and they perform it in the movie, may not exist had it not been for this film. So on that level, you might even be able to make an argument that this movie deserves a 9. But if we're talking about an actual movie, away from the music, 6 is being very generous.
Okay.
Yeah.
What
do you think of that?
I kind of agree with your argument, but I think I'd at least give it a 6.5. Just because I enjoyed the music, I didn't think so much about your idea of why you didn't like the music. But
no, I love the music.
Oh, you love the music? Okay.
That's the argument why maybe it should be higher. But I didn't like the way that they put it into the movie.
I didn't like it either. It was kind of random.
Mm-hmm.
There was nothing behind it. And I thought it was so unrealistic about how they would just, perform
on the train. Yes.
But 6.5 just because, there should have been a plot line. There should have been a storyline. It would have been a lot more interesting.
There is one, but it's very thin.
It's very, very thin. Not a lot of depth to it.
Now, getting back to the music in this movie.
Yes.
I had a thought that I told you.
Okay.
I didn't watch MTV when it first started.
Okay. I watched a little bit of it.
Okay.
Very little.
But I've seen documentaries where they would say, we only had like 170 music videos and we had to fill a whole network with that, right?
Yeah.
Who knows how much of that is true? Something tells me that there were more music videos back then, even though there weren't a lot. Did you ever see any music videos from the Beatles on MTV?
Not even on VH1, no.
Okay. So the Beatles actually did make music videos.
Yeah.
Something had a music video. Hello, Goodbye.
Wow.
I think Penny Lane, but I could be wrong with that.
Wow.
And maybe a few others.
That's another one of my favorite Beatles songs is Hello, Goodbye.
That's a great song.
And Penny Lane.
Yes.
And Strawberry Fields.
Okay. Get it.
Forever.
Yes.
Yeah.
I like the sequel to Strawberry Fields Forever called Strawberry Fields for This Afternoon. But that's another story.
Okay. Whatever.
But I wondered why watching this movie, there are parts of it where they perform whole songs.
Yes,
and I thought to myself, well, why didn't MTV just take the footage from A Hard Day's Night of them performing songs and chop those up into music videos?
Uh-huh. I don't know. I wasn't really thinking about that, but I know you asked that question and I'm like, yeah.
But that's a good observation, right?
It is a good observation. I remember in the early days of VH1, I used to watch both VH1 and MTV when all they played were music videos. But I remember that in the early 80s when VH1, or the mid to late 80s rather, when VH1 was really popular and all they had was videos nonstop.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And this is a broader discussion. On one hand, you can make the argument, well, MTV and VH1 were a lot better then.
Yes.
Than they are now, which I believe is true. But then on the other hand, you can make the argument of we no longer need them because we have things like YouTube and Vivo. Is it Vivo or Vimeo?
Vimeo.
Okay.
I personally think that after 2000, because I watched MTV a lot when I was a teen, between my teens and my early 20s. Mm-hmm. After 2000, it just went downhill, I think. It just started going downhill after 2000. With the more and more shows they were adding that didn't have anything to do with music, it was like, okay, MTV is probably going to be the only show that I would watch on MTV now is called Catfish.
Yeah, you've talked about that.
Yes, I have. But otherwise, I barely ever watch it now.
I still watched MTV, but I was mainly a BET and an MTV2 person by 2000.
Okay.
Because they had more music videos.
Yeah. And
BET would show some cool ones.
Yeah, BET, I liked that show that they had, 106 in Park.
That was okay.
I watched it once in a while.
I liked Rap City a lot. That was my jam.
There was some games on MTV that I did like, by 2000. Like, there was a game that they had called, Singled Out, and then they also had the Blame game.
Singled Out was pretty popular.
Singled Out was fun. That's when we were introduced to Jenny McCarthy.
Nice.
And the Blame game had to do with exes going to battle.
I'm not as into reality TV as you.
I'm talking about game shows. This is not reality TV.
Okay, babes, don't get so defensive.
No, but
give me a kiss. No, give me a kiss.
I'm not defensive. I'm just
give me a kiss, honey.
Bubby.
Give me a kiss, honey.
Oh.
I love you, babes.
No, I wasn't being defensive. I was just making a correction.
I think the only time I've seen music videos from the Beatles on TV, regular television, was after George Harrison died. Mm-hmm. I think they played the video for a video of him playing While My Guitar Gently Weeps.
Yeah.
And something.
Wow.
On MTV2.
Wow.
Yes. So here's a question for you.
Uh-oh.
And I know you don't know the answer, but maybe you could speculate.
Okay.
MTV launches in August of 1980.
I thought it was 81, is it?
Was it 81?
I think it might have been 81, but
Hold
I don't
on.
remember.
Alexa, when did MTV start?
No, it's not.
That's not right.
That is not right. That was earlier than 84. I think it was at least 80 or 81.
Oh, if you're 81, then this doesn't apply. So my question was, what was their reaction to the death of John Lennon?
I do not know, because I was still a baby.
You were still a baby.
I was still a baby. And you were not a baby yet.
Yes, I was not a baby.
You were not a baby.
Yes.
I was not a baby. So I don't know. I couldn't ask you. I couldn't.
You can ask me that, but I'm not going to give you a real answer.
I couldn't explain that, is what I'm trying to say. I can't answer it.
That's too bad, babes.
The.
There's a book I have that I haven't read called I Want My MTV.
Uh-huh.
And it's basically one of these oral history things where they take quotes from people and tell you about the history of something.
That was quoted in that song Money for Nothing by Dire Straits.
The book wasn't.
No, the I Want My MTV.
That was like their tagline for their advertisements there
yes.
in the early years. I Want My MTV.
Yes.
Yes. I mean, it was always corporate, but it tried to wear the mask of cool. MTV did, right?
I guess. I don't know. I just watched it.
But you weren't thinking, well, I'm watching a corporation trying to disseminate the ideas of cool.
No, Bubs. Oh. I wasn't that, corporate conscious or whatever you would call it. Mm. No, I was just like, I like the music. I like some of the shows. I didn't care about that stuff.
Sometimes I think, babes, that it annoys you when I talk too deeply about things.
Sometimes, yes, it does annoy me when you kind of analyze stuff, and I'm like, can't you just watch something and not even worry about it? I mean, just think about it as an escape.
I can.
Honestly.
Yes.
Why me quaking?
Oh, it is.
Well, you don't do that for the Twilight Zone, which is I'm very thankful about that.
Twilight Zone is cool.
It is.
I do that a little bit with Star Trek. I do that with other things. I do that with music. I do that with movies a lot.
Oh, that
I do that with books a lot.
It drives me crazy.
Yes.
Movies especially.
Oh. But it's made you a better film watcher. You would agree to that.
I have to say I have learned quite a bit from your film knowledge, but I wouldn't go that far as far as to analyze it as deeply as you have. But having said that, there are movies where we did agree on, like, that doesn't make any sense. Mm-hmm. This doesn't seem real. And there were some things that I did agree with you on, but then there are other things that I'm just like, why can't you just watch it and chill out?
So I want to know something.
Uh-huh.
If you had watched this film before we started dating,
yeah,
do you think that you would have liked it more? Because you would have had less experience analyzing movies.
I don't know if I would or not.
Mm.
I can't say now that I think about it. I think it would have been interesting to have watched it before meeting you, but I don't know what I would have been thinking.
That's fair.
Yeah.
Maybe we should analyze this film a little bit.
Okay.
What do you think we can learn from this movie about living in a bubble?
You gotta get out. You can't live in a bubble forever.
Mm.
Yeah.
Well, so there's the movie version of the Beatles where they're all happy.
Everybody's getting along.
Yeah, women are jumping over their cars.
Oh, yeah, that's right, yeah.
Are on top of them.
On top of them.
And we know that may not have necessarily been the case. Or if it was the case, it kind of faded fast.
Yeah.
So, I mean, in a sense, this movie is an interesting statement on not only living in a bubble, but also what
is real and what isn't real.
Yeah, exactly. What is real and what isn't real.
I see.
Mm-hmm.
It's almost like, if you think about like 50s TV shows, right? Like Leave It to Beaver. You know for a fact that that isn't real life.
Yeah.
It just seems like it, on the show at the time, that's their real life. June Cleaver's always dressed up and she's always wearing high heels and she's always pleasant and she's taking care of the, Wally and the Beeve. But that's not people's real reality outside of shows like that.
No.
That's not how a family usually operates. It's a very Stepford wife-ish type of thing going on there.
And it gets even more crazy with this because the Beatles were the real band.
Uh-huh.
And the real band's in the movie. But in a sense, the real people they're in the movie, but they're not. Because it's not really how Paul McCartney and the rest of them were. Like, I doubt that Paul McCartney really went on tour with his grandfather. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
So it's a sort of like weird commentary on reality.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I watched a TV show about the Partridge Family.
Go ahead.
About what really happened behind the scenes, and there were some things happening like what's his name? Danny What was his last name?
Oh, Danny Bonaducci?
Yes, Danny Bonaducci had come from a broken home, and there were times where he could not go home, and he had to go home with other people, and as much as his mother tried to help, and I think he was from a broken home. And then of course there was David Cassidy, who they wanted to change his image because he was Keith Partridge. And the Partridge Family was a family-oriented show, but they wanted to up the, push the envelope, and he didn't want that. I think it's if I remember correctly, he didn't want that. I can't remember. But it was behind the scenes that show like what really did happen. Susan Day was going through anorexia. And it got so bad that, she ate too many carrots and this is a true story. She ate too many carrots and her skin turned orange.
Wow.
She kept eating carrots because it's all she ate.
Interesting.
Well, one of the things that she ate because she thought she was really fat. So Susan Day, played Lori Partridge, and it was basically a very dysfunctional, set.
Yeah, the Hard Day's Night is a little bit different because from what I understand in the Partridge Family, they played characters. They didn't play versions of themselves.
No, they didn't.
Mm-hmm.
No, that's right. So it's kind of like akin to a, old, sitcom-ish type of thing.
Yeah, I kind of see that. Maybe more like Ozzie and Harriet.
Oh yeah, uh-huh.
Because they played themselves and their kids played themselves.
Yes, they did.
Yeah.
That's from what I understand.
That's way too cool.
Or,
I Love Lucy.
I Love Lucy. When in fact, contrary to their show, when Desi and Lucy got divorced, they hated each other's guts. So.
Yep.
That was kind of interesting.
I'm sure there was still some affection there because they experienced this wild ride of fame.
There was one episode where I watched when towards the end of the show, Lucy announced that she was pregnant, and it was actually live.
Yep.
And she said, "I'm pregnant." And he's like, "Really?" "Yes, I am. I'm pregnant." This is, of course, when Lucy was younger and her voice wasn't so deep.
Yes.
Smoking a lot of cigarettes.
Now, you know that without I Love Lucy, there would be no Star Trek, right?
How's that?
So this is really interesting. I Love Lucy is a super popular show, and Desi Arnaz thought that they should fund other TV shows. Mm-hmm. So something that he did, which was very creative. You know how they always talk about how there's shows from the 50s, but we can't watch them anymore because they're lost to history. Right?
Yes.
So what Desi Arnaz did was he filmed them. Instead of using a kinescope, which the film there is very flammable, he used regular movie cameras to film the show. So that's why we still have high-grade copies of I Love Lucy.
Wow. That's smart.
So he paid for them himself. And exchange, he had the rerun rights for I Love Lucy. Well, the show was very popular, so he could play it all over the world.
Yes.
And in the late 50s, I think after the show had ended, CBS wanted those rights back. So Desi Arnaz said, okay, you can have them back for like $1 million.
Yeah.
They took that money and they started their own production company. They produced Mission Impossible was their big show, but that came a little bit later. They produced a lot of TV pilots and the later Lucy shows, I believe, in the 60s.
Lucy and
Something like that, yeah.
Yeah.
And then they were looking for a sci-fi show to produce. So they meet with Gene Roddenberry, who created Star Trek, and they agreed to finance Star Trek. First pilot gets rejected. They film the second pilot. It goes to series. But Desilu, their studio, was spending, I think, $15,000 more an episode than NBC was giving them for the broadcast rights. So they were losing money each week.
Oh, wow.
And eventually, I think near the end of the second season, because of Star Trek costing so much money, they had to sell their studio to Paramount.
Desilu was her company?
Yep, that was her company.
Wow. Sounds like a little girl.
I know. But Desilu, but if it wasn't for Lucy, we wouldn't have Star Trek.
Wow, that is, how did you find out about this?
I've read it several places, but most recently it was in that book, The 50-Year Mission.
That is really interesting.
Yeah.
Huh.
Yeah. It's weird how different people in entertainment will connect in odd ways.
So Desi Arnaz was the brains behind I Love Lucy then?
Yes. He was supposed to be a very smart man.
Well, yeah, wow.
Mm-hmm.
That's amazing.
Yes.
It really is.
Yes. But she was a smart lady, too.
Oh, I would imagine.
Yes.
Yeah.
And she would have kept Star Trek. She would have been super rich.
So there was a show called Here's Lucy. I saw a few episodes, and her daughter was in it.
How'd you feel about that?
Why do you keep asking more questions?
I'm just curious, babes.
No, I thought it was kind of cool. I'm like, her daughter's name was Kim in the show. Kim. But that was her actual daughter. That played her daughter.
Nice.
There was one Here's Lucy episode that I thought was really funny where, her son in the show, his name was Craig in the show. He was auditioning for Wayne Newton's band and he kept saying, and Lucy kept asking Wayne Newton to do these weird things. It was like, Wayne, do you think he could squat down a little bit? Because we want to see Craig's face. And in the show, her last name was Carter. And he's laughing and he's like, okay, Mrs. Carter. That was kind of funny.
I gotta be honest. I never really got I Love Lucy. I understand its cultural importance.
It's really funny.
But it didn't really make me laugh.
Oh, I thought it was hilarious. Lucy and Ethel were like the funny women on the show.
Yeah.
They always got into weird predicaments and it was Lucy's fault all the time.
Back in the late 90s, babes, when I'm going to school at MLC, there was this cute blonde-haired girl who was a little bit sassy, and but I found out that she liked I Love Lucy, and I thought that was that's kind of interesting. But I was dating somebody else at the time.
But he's not here, is he?
I know, I was just saying, babes.
Oh, no, I'm just kidding. The blonde, is that the one that forgot you?
No, that's another girl.
Oh.
No. I never pursued this girl because I was in a relationship.
Okay.
Yes. And who knows, he might not have wanted any of this. You know, some people just can't recognize a good thing when it comes.
Oh my goodness.
What?
Why do guys say that all the time?
Because it's true with me.
No, I meant other guys.
I don't know why they say it. They're full of themselves. But
are you a little full of yourself?
No, I'm not. Okay.
Or you just say that in jest?
I say that in jest, babes.
Okay. But yeah, I thought I Love Lucy was really funny. Mm-hmm. I still think it's funny today.
Interesting.
I used to watch it when I was a kid. And I used to watch the Dick Van Dyke Show, and I thought that was hilarious.
I never got into that, but I've heard really good things besides for the bed thing.
Yeah, I think I thought Dick Van Dyke had a lot of good comedic timing, and I thought it was hilarious.
By the way, babes,
yes.
Do you know who pinched Mary Tyler Moore's ass on the set of the Dick Van Dyke Show? Dick Van Dyke did? Well, maybe, but I can't talk about that because I don't know if that's true or not. But I'm thinking about somebody else. So we're going to say no Dick Van Dyke for now. How did you find out this information? Because this person admitted this. That he goosed her? That he pinched her on the ass, yes. That's basically goosing her. Okay. Or actually grabbing her in the crotch would be goosing. Goose. Is it one of the co-stars? No. It's somebody who is very famous. Bubs, it could be anybody. Pretty famous. What's a clue I could... You like this person's movies. You like some of this person's movies. I do? Yes. Some of their movies you like. Alfred Hitchcock? No. Okay. Jimmy Stewart? No. Okay. I don't think he would do that anymore. Think a little bit more modern than that. And when did this happen? This happened on the set of the Dick Van Dyke Show. On the set of the Dick Van Dyke Show, which was in the 60s. From 60 to 65, I believe. Elizabeth Taylor? No. This is a man. He's acted and he's directed. These days he's more known for being a director. Bobcat Goldthwait. Interesting guess, but no. Well, he does make some very odd movies. Let me give you another hint. This person had some pretty big films in the 1980s and 90s. Older guy, younger guy? He's older now.
He's older now.
But he was young when he did this.
Oh, wait. I was gonna say, Tom Selleck, but he doesn't direct.
No.
Tom Hanks?
No.
Okay.
Do you want me to tell you?
Give me another hint, bub.
This person was on a popular TV series in the 1970s.
That could be any series.
But you got to take the facts that I've told you.
Michael Landon.
No.
Okay.
Do you want me to tell you?
Yes.
Rob Reiner.
Well, I heard some things about Rob Reiner. That's important exactly. Well, he had some kind of, he had a colorful past, so that doesn't surprise me.
But you probably heard those things on like Newsmax or something.
No. There were people coming out. I heard something that came out where Rob Reiner did some really he did some like really suggestive comedy sketches on SNL with Al Franken.
Oh, who cares about that if they're sketches?
No, but I don't know. It was odd, but it doesn't surprise me that Rob Reiner would do it.
He was 14 at the time, babes.
Oh.
Yeah. Just so you know.
Who did he play? Was it Richie?
No, he wasn't on the Dick Van Dyke Show.
He was just on the set.
He was on the set because his father, Carl Reiner, worked on the show.
Oh.
Yeah.
Well, he was he was a little pervert, wasn't he?
Well, babes, he was 14.
Oh. Soon to become a meathead.
I'm sure, babes, if he was conservative, you'd be like, well, that was before he changed, Bubs. But since he's liberal, it's like, he was a little poor boy.
No, not necessarily.
Okay.
I mean, I don't think anybody should do that, even if they're liberal or conservative.
Oh, good.
No, of course I'm not for that, Bubs.
Good. I love you there, Jaylo head.
So, for that, I'm going to...
Oh, okay.
Okay. All right, tickle choice.
Pilgrim, back to A Hard Day's Night.
Yes.
Is there anything else you want to say about the film, even though I think in our recap we've talked about it for like 2 minutes out of the last 30?
No, there's nothing I want to say because we got sidetracked in the middle of that.
Yes.
But I think that's, if you want to see a fun Beatles movie that you don't have to really think about, then you can see this. But if you actually want something with a storyline, don't watch it.
No. I would agree.
Yes.
Then we watched a film that was loosely inspired by the Beatles.
I believe I only watched it once before this, and I remember watching it because this came out my sophomore year of high school.
On October 4th, 1996. That Thing You Do. Written and directed by Tom Hanks, who has a small part in the movie. I saw it when it came out. I think this Sunday. I probably saw it on October 6th.
Yeah.
And it was okay, but it wasn't great. I was expecting more.
Yeah.
And I remember that weekend because I used to stay up till, so I used to stay up. So the local news ended at 11:30 and I'd watch Siskel and Ebert until midnight and then I'd go to bed.
Yeah.
Or I guess 11:35.
You would go to bed that late?
Yeah.
Wow. On Friday?
No, this is Sunday.
On Sunday?
Yeah.
Wow.
That's middle school, babes.
Oh, well, it doesn't matter, Bub.
Well, it does matter, babes.
Oh.
But at 11:35, before they would go to Siskel and Ebert, they'd have the local news anchor read off the top 5 highest grossing films of that weekend.
Yeah.
And I remember, I think That Thing You Do made like $6.4 million and came in 3rd place. And at the time, like, Tom Hanks is this huge star. So in my mind, I'm thinking, this film probably made like $30 million this weekend.
Yeah.
And then when it came out, I thought, what a disappointment.
Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah, because it wasn't that long after it came out in the theater. It was released on video, I think it was. Mm-hmm. And I didn't watch it in the theater. I watched it on video. Oh. And it's been so long since I've seen it, but it wasn't all that bad. I wouldn't give it a 9 or an 8, but I would...
No, I'd give it a 7.
I would give it a 7.
Do you want to give a synopsis, or would you like me to?
Why don't you give not the recap, but just like the premise and I'll add stuff. Okay,
so it's basically about this group who calls themselves the Wonders, even though it's spelled the Oneaters.
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 Oneders. So that's a star with spelling it that way, which is a really weird way to spell it.
Yes. And the band is having some trouble at the beginning of the movie. Their head drummer falls out, so they go and get this other guy who they've worked with before.
Yep.
The lead singer, Mark?
No, Guy. Guy Patterson.
I thought Guy was a drummer.
Oh, I'm sorry. It might have been Jimmy.
Okay. Jimmy wrote this song called That Thing You Do. They go to a local talent show, perform it, and it's this big hit.
Yeah.
So they get a gig at this pizza shop.
Yep.
And one day, a fan comes up to them, and Jimmy has a girlfriend played by Liv Tyler.
That's Faye.
Faye. Mm-hmm. They're all hanging out. A fan comes up and says, when can I buy your guys' album?
Yeah.
They start thinking, well, we know somebody in the Christian community, so there'd be no swearing, but maybe he can help us record a single. I think
it was like a church, from a church, right?
One of their uncles, their Uncle Bob or Rob or something like that.
Yeah.
Record the song, self-release it, gets on the radio, becomes a hit. They run into a manager. He takes them on the road.
That's played by Tom Hanks?
No.
Oh, I'm sorry. It was a different guy. I'm sorry.
Yes. The manager introduces them to Tom Hanks, who works for Playtone Records.
Yeah.
Signs them to a deal. They start performing. Their singles rising fast. So Tom Hanks takes them to Hollywood to, perform some more on some big shows and to start recording in the studio.
Mm-hmm.
Do their thing. There's problems in the band. One guy's supposed to go into the military. Another guy wants to get married to the Playtone secretary.
Right, exactly.
And go ahead.
Yeah. The one guy wants to get married to the Playtone secretary. Faye breaks up with Jimmy.
That happens a little bit later.
But that happens later. But it all starts to fall apart.
They go and perform on TV and barely make it. The next day, Jimmy's acting weird in the studio. Mm-hmm. He leaves. Tom Hanks basically says the contract is over. He tells us to Guy, who's a drummer. A jazz guy enters the studio.
Dale Paxton. Actually, you missed something.
What's up?
Guy meets Dale Paxton at this restaurant.
I didn't mess up. You don't let me go back to it. I was going to go back to it just now, but I needed the guy's name.
Dale Paxton.
Yes. Earlier in the movie, Guy met him at this bar, and he was a huge fan. So Dale Paxton and him start jamming, and Guy realizes, you know what? I should stay here and make it as a drummer.
You forgot something else.
What did I forget?
You forgot the advice that Dale Paxton gave him at the bar.
Watch your money.
What else?
Well, tell me.
He basically said that, bands come and go. And I said, we've only been together for 2 months, because he's thinking, we're going to be great. We're going to be big stars. And Dale Paxton says, well, sometimes it's 2 months too long.
And I started laughing.
Yeah, I thought that was funny.
Because I've been in artistic collaborations.
But I would agree with him on that one.
I definitely would. Yeah. In any event, homeboy goes to the hotel. And Liv Tyler is about to leave. He basically goes up behind her and says, I want to kiss you. I'm staying out here and be my girl. They go off, and then they have the credits saying what everybody else did, and that's the end of the movie.
Yes.
That's my brief synopsis there, Jaylo.
Well, I can't really add much to it because you already said a lot.
Oh. Well, add what you want to.
Well, I can't add anymore.
Oh.
Because you didn't let me add anything.
All right, well, pretend that I didn't give a synopsis. What would you add to it?
No, there's nothing I can add now.
Uh-oh.
Thanks a lot, Bubs.
Well, let me ask you some questions. If you're okay with that.
Yes.
What does Jimmy teach us about self-sabotage?
Well, I think that because it seemed like he got a big head from all that fame. Mm-hmm. And because he got a big head from all that fame, he forgot, with fame comes a lot of, things like there was a rumor that him and Faye got engaged. Mm-hmm. And he got upset because he wanted to, protect his reputation. He basically said, who had the big idea of saying, whose idea was it to say that me and Faye were engaged? He was very upset. But apparently, Faye was not happy, and she basically said, I used to think you were different. I used to love that smile that you had, and now now it's all, I don't love you anymore, pretty much, because of what you've become. I think that fame really messed up his outlook on, I don't know.
You think it was Faye's fault that he became the way he did?
No, not Faye.
You just said,
no,
I think
said Fame.
Oh, Fame. Okay, sorry.
No, not Faye.
I misheard you.
No.
Okay.
No.
I've known so many artists who self-sabotage. The first time I saw this movie, I didn't really buy the Jimmy character.
Yeah.
But now, having kind of lived a little bit more, it makes complete sense to me.
Yeah, because it just, in the 2 months that they were together, people are, trying to jump over hoops just to get to them and everything, and it just went to his head, and he was interested in, that one lady, Diane Dane, who was another star. Well, maybe not interested in her, but more interested in finding out more about her stuff, I guess.
I thought that was the other guy who went up to her.
Oh, that might have been Lenny.
Yeah. The guy who got married to the secretary.
Lenny, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, maybe that was him.
He was good comic relief in the movie.
He was a funny guy.
Yeah.
But no, Jimmy, I think Jimmy is a perfect example of how artists can self-sabotage themselves by giving themselves over to fame and forgetting that fame is fleeting.
Mm-hmm.
And that they're only a star for a time, and then before they know it, if something happens, they're no longer a star and people forget them, or they just think of them as a one-hit wonder.
Yes.
Yes.
What does Guy teach us about keeping your head down and doing the work?
Well, like Dale Paxton said, he's a smart one,
mm-hmm.
Because he was talking about, all the people in the band, like,
Dale didn't say that. That was Tom Hanks.
Oh, I'm sorry. Tom Hanks is Mr. White.
Yeah.
And he complimented Guy on saying, you were the smart one. You are the smart one. You got a good head on your shoulders. And when everybody was leaving the band, he's like, I can't believe this is happening. But it seemed like Guy seemed to have his wits about him and decide, okay, well, I could be upset that the band is over, but I could make use of the breakup and do my own thing by myself and be the best star that I can be alone.
And he was. Yes.
But what that is that was, and he ended up being a big star with well, we'll get to that in a minute.
They have a music conservatory.
Yes, Guy and Faye.
Yes.
To get married.
So let me ask you about Lenny. We know from the end credits that he got divorced from the secretary at some point.
Yeah.
What do you think that relationship was like for them once the allure wore off?
Oh, I'm sure that he probably thought she was really dumb and annoying. She didn't seem very smart to me.
No. But do you also think that she was a star fucker and she was only with him because she thought he was going to be the next big thing?
She probably wanted... I would say she's a gold digger, yeah.
Mm.
She wanted all the money, but that was only like 2 months worth of it.
They weren't even together for that long because
no, they weren't.
Remember, they come to Hollywood, I think maybe a week before they break up.
That is true. No, they were together for about 2 months.
They were, but they weren't. No, the couple wasn't. Lenny and the secretary.
Yeah, that's right.
Because they go to the Playtone offices, and that's where they meet.
That's right.
Mm.
Yeah.
Yes.
Well, I think he married her thinking it's going to be great, and come to find out the woman next to him is like, has these really annoying habits and realizes, oh, we got into this way too quickly.
Yes. Can I try to tell the joke I told you last night about this movie?
What?
Before I met you, I dated some ugly girls. So sometimes people would say to me, I like that thing you do. And I wasn't sure if they were talking about the girl I was dating at the time or this movie.
Oh, that was a terrible joke.
Like, I really like that thing you do. And I'd say thanks. And they'd be like, oh, I meant the movie.
Oh, wow.
By the way, I did date some attractive girls, so.
Yeah.
It was
I would imagine they weren't like I imagine they weren't like butt ugly. What?
No, I'm just laughing at my own joke over here.
You like to laugh at your own jokes?
That thing you do.
Well, your jokes are kind of funny, but I think it's funnier that you laugh at your own jokes.
Thank you there, Jaylo.
Yeah.
Are there any questions about this movie that you have for me?
Did you like Faye's character?
She was okay. It was. I'll tell you this.
Mm-hmm.
I get that this is a mainstream film from the 90s, directed by, at that point, probably the biggest movie star in the world.
Yeah.
Right, so they're not going to take too many risks.
Yeah.
Or go too far off the narrative.
Yeah.
I don't think that Faye and Guy should have gotten together at the end.
You don't think so? Why?
I think they should have gone their separate ways, because they didn't really build to a romance between the two of them before then. They were just kind of hanging out.
I would agree. I thought it was kind of strange. I mean, this is the second time I watched it. I kind of thought maybe she might end up going with somebody else, but I didn't think it was Guy. For some reason, I did think that she made a very good decision in dumping Jimmy, though.
Absolutely.
Because he wasn't good for her. And then Guy, we should also mention that Guy had a girlfriend named Tina, and it was implied, well, actually, it was found out that she was having an affair with her dentist.
Yes.
She was in love with her dentist. Mm-hmm. She said that this molar procedure was gonna be for the whole entire day.
Yes.
You know what that means.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
That means she's gonna be doing a little bit of all work on the dentist there, Jaylo.
Oh, jeez. You had to go with the help.
Okay, you did.
Everybody knew what I was talking about.
Okay, what else? Are there any other questions about this movie that you have?
I thought it was interesting when you said that you know, it would have been interesting if Guy and Faye did not end up going together.
Yeah.
And I thought there was kind of like a spur of the moment thing.
I would have liked it if she goes back home and he just goes to play music.
Mm.
But that's me.
But they ended up together in the movie and opened a conservatory.
Yes, they did. Well, would you recommend this movie to people?
Does people the movies?
Yes. It's like when he says, "You're my biggest fan."
Oh, yeah.
Yes.
That's right. You're my biggest fan.
Yes, yes.
Yeah, he said that to Del Pax too.
Yep.
I would. I mean, it's not the best band movie, but it's a fun movie. It's not that bad, actually.
Give me your elevator pitch.
If you want to talk to somebody at a party and you want to talk about some fun band movies that don't require any thought. Mm-hmm. Well, I mean, in some ways, maybe this movie does make you think a little bit. Or you want a fun Tom Hanks movie to watch that you could enjoy for a little bit, even if it's not the greatest movie, then watch this.
Okay.
Yeah, it's you know, it's somewhat of a realistic depiction of what bands do go through, even in a short amount of time.
Yes. If
you want to see that.
What does this film make you think of Tom Hanks as a director and writer?
I don't know. I thought it was a good start. Yeah. I don't know that Guy and Faye should have gotten married, but I thought it was a good start.
Good.
Yeah.
Is there anything else you want to say about this movie?
I really like the music in this movie.
It's good.
Yeah, it's some good music in it.
Yeah.
I think it was Guy's parents who wanted to watch the movie, and they had some kind of they had a store.
They had a store that Guy was working at, and when he performs on TV, they're watching it, and the dad's kind of doing this fake drumming and singing. Yeah. Yeah,
they were funny too.
Yeah.
A little bit. And then he would refer to his wife as Mama, and it's like, oh, so you're gonna finally pay me.
Oh, he's selling that to this other lady, Darlene.
I'm sorry, not the wife.
And he's like, no.
Huh. That's pretty funny. But no, it's an enjoyable movie. It's not bad at all.
Good.
Yes.
Is there anything else you have to say about this movie?
Just said it was good to watch it again, and it really did remind me of high school because I was in band.
Yes.
It reminds me of we had this conversation about the commitment, what a commitment it is to be in any kind of band. And I was telling you my high school, experiences being with, band all through high school, and how I had, I had marching band in the fall, I had pep band in the fall, I was playing at football games and basketball games and away games. And sometimes I'm just like, I'm on a Friday afternoon, I'm like, I really don't want to go, but I have to go because it's a commitment. I signed up for band, so I have to commit. Mm-hmm. And how hard it is sometimes when it's just like, I really don't want to go, I'm so tired.
But you did it anyway.
But I did it anyway. I wasn't gonna back out. And then when I got to college and I was a part of a wind ensemble, my professor, said, I really like that you're not making excuses to be here and that you're not here, not making excuses, because some of the students are like, oh, I'm sick or I'm hurt or whatever. And I said, well, I take it seriously, and unless I'm sick, I'm going to be here at all the practices.
Nice.
Because I really want to learn, and I'm taking this seriously, and this is what I want to do. This is what I want to learn.
That's good, babes.
And it really teaches you a lot of discipline.
Yeah.
It does.
Yeah. It's really odd, though, working with people. I mean, I wasn't in a school band, but I've been in bands and creative situations. It's odd when you're working with people who don't have that same discipline and don't like to show up to rehearsals. And
yeah. And it really puts everybody else that takes time out of their day. It really brings everybody down. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yes.
It really brings everybody down, and the ones that won't do the work, it's like, why are you not doing the work?
Or why are you still here?
Why are you still here?
That's what I always thought. Well, why do we need this person if they're not going to do the work?
Yeah. So, it really does teach you a lot of discipline, even with being on sports teams. If you're a part of sports in high school. Yeah,
that's the one thing where I wish I would have been on a sports team, is just to be more disciplined and mm-hmm. all that stuff.
Yeah, I'm surprised that there wasn't a music program in your school. There was, but it was very weak. Yeah, that's a shame.
But we'd have people playing guitars in the hallways and that type of stuff.
But that's people playing guitars.
Yeah, in the hallways. That's true.
It's not like you're working towards a goal for the year. Mm-hmm. It's not like you're working towards concerts or marching band activities or pep, for pep assemblies, you're working towards a football game or working on a halftime show, that's a lot of work.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah. It really teaches you discipline and how to work with people.
Yes, Joe.
Yes.
Is there anything else you wanted to say, babes?
Excuse me. I don't think so.
I think we're good then.
Yeah.
All right, babes.
We're going to take a break, get some snacks.
Yeah.
And then I'm going to give a short lesson.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, my goodness.
On the Kama Sutra.
No.
Oh. On the good.
Oh, my goodness. Would you stop with that annoying accent?
Sorry, babes.
It's so fake.
Well, give me a kiss.
No.
And then give me some snacks.
Oh.
No, give me a kiss first. No, babes, come on. Babes, come on. Oh my goodness.
Oh my goodness.
All right, babes.
You be good boy.
I always am. All right, babes.
Okay.
Last chance to say something?
I don't have anything to say.
All right,
bye. But, bye-bye for now.
Bye-bye.